My name is Elena, and I'm 26 years old. I lived alone in a small, cold room in the city where the walls were thin and the window was broken, letting in freezing air each winter. I had only one chair, one bed, and an old lamp. No TV, no heater. My life was simple, but hard. Bills piled up, my student debt weighed heavily on me, and I still needed to send money to my sick mother in a distant village. Every week I called her, and she always said, "Don't worry about me." But I did worry. I knew she wasn't well. I sent what I could, but it was never enough. Some nights I ate only bread. Sometimes I went to bed hungry. My shoes had holes, my clothes were worn, and I was always tired. Life in the city was fast. People flaunted nice phones, cars, and clothes, while I had nothing but a small bag, a few coins, and my quiet room. One day, my friend Sarah invited me to a party at a luxury hotel, saying it was free to enter and full of rich people. I refused at first, telling her I don't have anything nice to wear, but she insisted. With no other plans and a mind full of stress, I finally agreed. I put on my only black dress, brushed my hair, and applied cheap lipstick, the best I could do. We took the train to the hotel, which was tall, bright, and clean, with golden lights, flowers, and soft music in the air. Women in red dresses and diamonds, men in dark suits with shiny watches, it all made me feel small and out of place. I stayed near the wall, telling myself, this is not my world. Then I saw him, standing near the window, older than the rest, with gray hair, a dark suit, and a calm, unreadable face. He held a glass, but didn't drink, his eyes scanning the room without a smile. Then he saw me, and didn't look away. I lowered my gaze, feeling my cheeks grow warm, but when I looked up again, he was still watching me. Then he began walking toward me, slowly. Stopping in front of me, he asked in a deep voice, "What's your name?" "Elena," I replied. He studied me for a moment, reached into his pocket, and handed me a white card with his name embossed in gold, Victor Black. "Call me tomorrow," he said, and walked away without another word. That night, I sat in my cold room, staring at the card, wondering why this man wanted me to call him. I thought about my mother, my debts, my empty kitchen, and my aching body. The next day, I dialed his number. A man answered and told me to wait for a car. An hour later, a black car arrived. The driver wore gloves and spoke not a word as I sank into the soft, pillowed seats, watching the city pass by in a way I'd never seen before. We arrived at a tall building by the river. A woman greeted me, "Come in, Miss Elena," leading me across marble floors and white walls into a small room with tea on the table. I waited until Victor entered, sitting across from me with steady, calm eyes. He said my life looked difficult and that he could help me. I wouldn't need to work so hard. I could have food, clothes, rest, and safety if I agreed to stay by his side. "This is not about love," he explained. "It's an agreement. You must follow my rules. Never ask about my work, never speak about our life, and never see other men. In return, I'll give you money each month." My mind swirled. He told me to take my time to think. Back in my small room, I looked around. Gray walls, worn shoes, 2 shirts, 1 coat, a few coins, no food. My body ached. My heart felt heavy. I thought of my mother, the cold nights, the empty mornings. Then I picked up the card again and called. "Yes," I said, "I will come." The next day, the car returned. I packed my few belongings into one bag. His house was enormous, with tall windows, soft carpets, and a bedroom bigger than my entire apartment. That night, Victor brought me a contract, rules, payments, and conditions. My hand trembled as I signed. I told myself it was not about love. It was for my mother, for a better life. Yet deep inside, I felt like I was stepping into a golden box, safe, comfortable, but with no way out. My new life began quietly. I had my own room but couldn't enter his. I could only use the kitchen, library, and garden. The rest was off limits. Victor gave me money each week, and a woman named Maria came daily to cook and clean. She was kind but quiet, her eyes unreadable. Perhaps she thought I was lucky, or maybe she thought I was a fool. Victor came home late, often without a word. He wasn't cruel, but distant, smiling rarely, speaking briefly. I had food, clothes, and safety, but I felt like a shadow in his world. Each morning, I walked in the perfect garden, trying to be grateful. No hunger, no cold, no bills, but also no voice. I spent my days in silence, reading books, gazing out the window, or writing in a notebook about my mother, my old life, and my fears. One day, passing by his study, I noticed the door slightly open. Inside were books, maps, and a framed photograph of a beautiful woman with dark hair wearing a red dress and smiling. I had never seen her before. That night at dinner, I softly asked, "Who is the woman in the photo on your desk?" His face hardened instantly. "It's not important," he said, coldly, then left the table. He didn't speak to me for 2 days. When I asked Maria if she knew the woman, she avoided my eyes and replied quietly, "You should not ask about such things," before walking away. And in that moment, I knew there were secrets in this house. One evening, I passed by the study again, but this time the door was locked. I tried the handle, it wouldn't move. I stepped back quickly, my heart uneasy. From that day, I began watching Victor more closely. He often spoke on the phone in another language, left the house late at night, and met with men in suits. Sometimes I heard raised voices echoing through the halls. This life looked perfect from the outside, but it was not. It was only quiet on the surface. One morning, Victor came to me with a serious expression and a stack of papers. "I need your help with something important," he said, standing before me. "It's about business. There's a deal, and I need to be married, on paper, just for a short time. It will help me." I stared at him. "Married? To who?" "To you," he replied. "It won't change anything. We'll live the same way. No love, no promises, just paper." My mouth went dry. "But I thought you didn't want marriage." He looked at me calmly. "This is not a real marriage. It's for business only. It helps me move money, makes my company look better. You already live here. You already follow the rules. This is just the next step. Will you do this?" I felt like I was sinking deeper into something strange, but I thought of the contract, the quiet house, my mother, and the money. I said yes. A few days later, we went to an office. No guests, no flowers, no photos, just a cold room and pens. I wore a simple white dress. Victor wore a dark suit. We signed the papers, and I became Mrs. Black. But I didn't feel like a wife. I felt like a tool. Nothing in the house changed. Victor stayed the same. The rules stayed the same. Only I felt different, heavier, lost. I had a ring, but no love, money, but no joy, Pretty dresses, but no smile. People saw us outside and believed in the illusion. A rich man and his young wife. They smiled, but I was only playing a role. One afternoon, I decided to surprise him with lunch. I went to his office building, a tall glass tower buzzing with people. While I waited in the lobby, I heard a woman shouting, "He lied to me! He said we would get married!" Heads turned. She saw me, froze for a moment, then pointed directly at me. You stole him! He was with me for years!" My body went numb. Her name was Clara, and she said Victor had promised her marriage before vanishing from her life. I fled the building, my hands shaking, my legs weak, my heart pounding. That night, Victor acted as though nothing had happened. But I couldn't stop thinking, was I just his next tool? Were there others before me? One night, when he was in the shower, I saw his phone on the table. I opened it. Messages from other women appeared on the screen. Some said, "Call me." Others, "I miss you." My chest went cold. Even after our so-called marriage, he was seeing others. I sat on the bed, staring at the ring on my finger, feeling small, used, and invisible. I thought of the photograph in his study, of Maria's guarded eyes, of the locked door, of his strange business dealings. I couldn't live like this anymore. I needed the truth. The next day, I told Victor I was going out to buy books. He didn't ask questions. He never did. Instead, I went to a small office near the train station, where a woman gave me the name of a private investigator. 2 days later, I met him, a quiet man in glasses and a gray coat. I told him everything and asked for everything in return. His work, his life, his secrets. "It will take time and money," he said. I paid him with Victor's money, the same money he gave me each month. Weeks passed, then the investigator called. "I found things you should know," he told me. We met in a quiet cafe where he handed me a folder. Inside, I learned the truth. Victor's business was not clean. He used fake names, fake companies, moved money illegally, and dealt with dangerous people. He used women, used me to hide his tracks. Then came the shock that made my hands tremble. When we married, Victor had transferred ownership of one of his companies into my name. On paper, I owned it, completely. The investigator said it was worth a fortune. Maybe Victor planned to take it back later, but at that moment, the law said it was mine. I walked out of the cafe in silence, the cold wind biting my face. Victor had given me something real, something he didn't know I knew about. He still believed I was weak, but I wasn't anymore. From that day, I changed. I smiled at him in public, sat beside him at events, wore elegant dresses, and spoke little. All the while, I watched, listened, and learned. I studied the business world, reading papers at night and memorizing numbers. With the investigator's help, I followed the threads of his dealings until I understood the entire web. Victor never noticed. He still thought I was just his doll. But I had a plan, not to run, but to win. On our 1-year anniversary, I woke early. When Victor sat at the table and said, "Happy anniversary, Elena," I said nothing. I walked to the study and returned with a folder from my bag. "What's this?" he asked. "The truth," I replied. He opened it. I watched his face change as he saw the documents, saw that I knew everything, saw that I owned the company. "You used me," I told him. "You lied. You married me for business. But now, the business is mine." He shouted, You are nothing without me. I stayed calm. I'm leaving, I said, and I'm keeping what's mine. Then I laid down divorce papers in front of him. His hands shook. You can't do this, he said. I looked him in the eye. You gave me the power. I just learned how to use it. In that moment, he looked small, not rich, not strong, just small. He knew he had lost. I packed my bag, left the ring on the table, and walked out of the house. I didn't take the dresses, the shoes, or any of the life he had given me. I took only the truth. I sold the company and used the money to buy my mother a small house by the sea. I moved to a quiet street, started a modest job, and finally, I had peace.